Find the prime factorization of 180. So this is prime factorization, and we are going to use the factor tree on this one. So I just need to split 180 up into any two factors, okay? Now, one thing I noticed about this number is that it's got a 0 here in the ones place value, so I know it's divisible by 10 right away. Now, the fact that it's divisible by 10 means that the other factor would just be the same number, just take off the 0, so that'd be 18. 10 and 18. Now, neither of these are prime, so I'm not going to circle either one of these. But it's a good start because it at least, instead of looking at a big number like 180, now I'm looking at two smaller numbers, two numbers that should look at least kind of familiar. For example, 10, right? 10, I know two factors of 10 would be 5 and 2. Okay, and both of these are prime. So I'm going to circle those. So that ends that branch of this factor tree. But I can still work with the 180. I can say, look at 118 rather. So I know I could take 18 and say, well, that's 9 times 2, and 2 is prime, so I can circle that one as well. But the 9 can be further factored in because 9 is not prime. It's divisible by 3. That would be 3 times 3. Now 3 is prime, though. So having circled, we've reached the end of each of these branches. And it's important to notice before I continue that you didn't have to use these two specific factors. For example, since 180 ends in 0, you could have divided it by 5 and figured out that other factor as well. I didn't, and I hope that's okay. Because again, I'm just pointing out that it doesn't matter. You could have used 2 and 90, in fact, and continued to split that up. But just going along with the example that we have, let's list all these factors, okay? And I'm going to list these in ascending order again. So I'll start with the orange 2. Then we got the red 2. We got the 2 3s in purple. Then we got the 5 in orange. And again, this means if you multiply these, that altogether you would end up with 180. And these are all prime numbers, which is important. If we saw any of these that weren't prime that we accidentally circled, we'd have to go back and continue splitting those up. But these are all prime, so we're in good shape here. Now, what you saw on the homework where it says use exponents for repeated factors, and we do have repeated factors here with the 2's and the 3's, by the way. Be sure to use the multiplication. It's the asterisk button, right, between different factors. For example, and yeah, they give that examples right there. Now, in order to create an exponent, of course, when you click on the box right there, you see that we get this x to the power button, right? So you could click on that, and that would create an exponent. So this one, I'm just typing in something random, but as soon as I click on that, it goes into exponent mode right there, okay? If you don't want to push that button using the math quill stuff, you're going to have to use this button. So that's shift 6. You have to push that at the same time, and that will give you that will put the computer or calculators even into exponent mode. So we need to restate these factors with exponents. So I'll start with the 2's first. I got a base of 2. It's 2 multiplied, repeatedly multiplied. So that's the base. Oh, let me pull that up. Well, what did I do? So it's a base of 2 right there. I got that in blue. And how many of those 2's are being multiplied together? Well, there's 2 of them. So that's an exponent of 2. All right. So that takes care of the 2 2's that were repeatedly multiplied. But then we got the 3's, right? So those are our bases. The 3's repeatedly multiplied. How many of those are there? There's 2 of them. Now the 5 does not have repeated multiplication, so I just list the 5 by itself. And just like it said on the homework, make sure you put multiplication between those, because this is the answer that they're looking for, not this one. Okay, but this one should help us to figure out this answer. And whether you had this in ascending order, right? That I didn't see that this specific problem said that it needed to be in ascending order. You still may want to, just to be sure, but yeah, when it talks about using exponents, that's what it means. So yeah, you may have to use that again on the on math quill it shows what was it, x to some, wasn't it a box on that one? Yeah, it just has a box like this. So yeah, the way that I have that ordered with the 10 and the 18 right here, yeah, just because it's multiplication, the order will not matter, right? So if I switch these now keep in mind I'm not switching everything, but if I put the 18 here and the 10 here, it would also switch. Like the 5 and 2 would be over here, and then the 9 and 2 would be over there. Um, but yeah, having switched those again, if it works better in your brain to have the 10 on the right side, that's fine, because order will not matter with multiplication.